add or subtract? Mheshimiwa Eugine.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we are very perturbed by the recent developments that saw the High Court in Kiambu issuing orders blocking the implementation of the NADCO report. As you're all aware, I was in the dissenting side on the signing of that report, and I didn't sign it because our two key issues that we presented, mainly the issue of the cost of living, was not addressed. That was rejected by our friends in Kenya Kwanza. But now we understand why, because the intention was really to add more taxes, which they have done since we left Bomas. More and more taxes are coming up. And with the budget policy statement in place, the trajectory is increment of taxes across. If we had VAT being increased from 8% to 16% on fuel in the 2023 finance bill, now that VAT is being added even on milk and bread. We had zero rated under Uhuru Kenyatta matters touching on essential commodities, things like bread, milk, just for ordinary Kenyans, families, to have a meal, that basic breakfast meal. Now our friends are also adding VAT on that to 16%. They want to add VAT also 16% in the education sector. Already many parents, as we speak, they were talking of over 300 Kenyan children who are challenges joining secondary schools. Over 100,000 have not joined as we speak because of the challenges that the parents are meeting. Now, if that is added, that burden will go even higher. The most worrying issue was the second issue that we raised at Bomas as Azimio, and this is one of the issues that sent Kenyans on the streets, and that is the issue of electoral justice, the issue of reconstituting IEBC, the issue of doing an audit of the last general elections that was a product of a divided commission. The majority of the commissioners, as they appeared before us, physically and electronically, they were still not owning the results of the 2022 general elections. We heard from them, our two sisters who were in the US, and our two brothers who came to Bomas. They said the results announced by Chebukati were not the results of the commission. Those results were Chebukati's plus a minority of the commission who are two commissioners. Though the Supreme Court made a decision on the matter, Kenyans still wanted to know exactly what happened. And that is why it was agreed by both sides that there should be an audit of that election, not to reverse the decision of the Supreme Court, but to ensure that future elections avoid the pitfalls of the past election, to ensure that the next elections of 2027, 10th August, that my brother Kalonzo wants to run as president, I want to run as president, there are others who want to run as president. Those elections will be credible, they will be verifiable. Those concerns that have been raised need to be addressed, and an audit will be able to reveal those pitfalls so that before 2027 we have in place remedial measures to address the concerns of Kenyans. That is what was agreed. And I do recall when we went to Kitui, we went to mourn our friend's brother-in-law in Kitui. We were very clear then that for my colleagues, and I really respect the decision they made, who said that though Kenya Kwanza refused the issue of cost of living and want to add taxes, we'll deal with that issue later. It's the next phase of our struggle, as my brother has said, that will actually lead Kenyans back to the streets. But for the sake of the next general election, the sake of reconstituting IEBC, for the sake of ensuring that the issue of delineation of boundaries, that is time-bound in our constitution, is addressed, let us not throw out the baby with the bathwater. In Kitui, I recited a poem by Jonathan Kariara, "For Grass Will Grow." And this parent did say to God that, God, if you're going to take away my only child, then give me strength to dig his grave, for grass will grow. And we did say to William Ruto and his Kenya Kwanza team that if they were going to cross the red line and actually interfere with the bombers' talks, the product, in terms of tampering with the electoral justice issue, which was the main issue by Azimio, apart from the issue of cost of living that was rejected, then they must be prepared for the consequences. And we said, let the good Lord give us strength, for grass will grow. Now, what has happened, we want to state here from the coast, that Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka and I have been in government. We are experienced ministers. He was our 10th vice president. We know how governments work. We know how the deep state works. We know how the system works. We can see the fingerprints of the deep state, of the system, on this legal roadblock that has been placed in the way of the implementation of the bombers' document. And we do know that already signs have become clear in Parliament. The way the NADCO report is being processed through the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee of the House, JLAC, we do know that there have been deliberate delaying tactics on the part of our Kenya Kwanza friends. We have some of our colleagues, like the senior counsel, Tienda Molo, who have been expressed their frustrations through what is happening in that committee. They have called meetings, their colleagues have skipped meetings so that they don't process that report. So the strategy is to delay implementation in Parliament, and the ultimate strategy now is to derail the implementation of the NADCO report through the courts. And we believe this is state-instigated litigation, state-sponsored litigation to derail this process. And we are saying today that as Azimio, we will not accept these tactics. I always believe that when our colleagues came to bomb us, they did not come with clean hands to the dialogue table. They came with dangerous cards hidden under the table. And I believe they have started playing those dangerous cards in Parliament through delay and in courts through derailment that is now happening. They did not have goodwill at the beginning of this process. In fact, they did not have goodwill during this process. And I must congratulate our team leader, Kalonzo Musyoka. He's a very patient man. He's a diplomat. And to South Sudan and across the world, he is a renowned diplomat. He was very patient for the sake of this country. But if those efforts are going to be thrown out through this nefarious scheme by the Kenya Kwanza government, then they better be prepared for the consequences. This is the clear message we want to give to Kenya Kwanza from this beautiful end of the world, just besides the Indian Ocean. The other issue we want to say is that the issue of corruption, endemic corruption and tribalism in this government is something that cannot go unchallenged. As we speak, Kenya has for the first time in recent days been added to the grey list of the world. The grey list is a shameful list of the most corrupt nations in the world. Those are the heavens of money laundering, the wash people. And indeed, Kenya has become a wash nation. Everything you look at now is fake, from the fake fertilizer. How do we trust these people? Someone who can pack donkey poop and put stones and add sand and call it fertilizer? Can you trust such a person? Can we trust these people who are calling themselves Kenya Kwanza? For us, we believe the rate at which we are going, this is Kenya Kwisha. Our country is going to the dogs. And we must call out Bwana Ruto, who has become like a Libaba and his gang of 40 thieves, because they are stealing day and night from Kenyans. Now they've gone to the farmers. Kenya is an agrarian economy. We have over 80% earning a livelihood from agriculture. You promised them that when you enter State House, you will ensure there's guaranteed minimum returns to the farmers. Now that is not guaranteed anymore. When you are giving them stones, na mavi ya punda, na mchanga, na unaita hii ni mbolea. How are we going to grow food and remove Kenya from the list of food insecure nations of the world when we are allowing our wash friends in this government to give fake fertilizer and fake seeds to farmers? We will not achieve. So these are some of the issues we want to say as we speak. From the reports given, it is shown that the Kenya Kwanza government has entrenched corruption, and the most corrupt ministries are known. Kenya Kwanza government has entrenched tribalism. With that system of shareholding, we cannot have one or two shareholders wanajivunia kuwa wa Kenya and the rest wanavumilia kuwa wa Kenya. We cannot have this. From the public employment, right from cabinet to the PSs to the CSs, you can see the trend of shareholding where others are excluded and they are second-class citizens when they are main shareholders who are first-class citizens. Is this the Kenya we want? This is what we are saying, that even as Baba goes to Addis, and we wish him well, this Easter we want to call on our Christians as we celebrate Easter and the rising of Christ, to pray for the champion of our democracy, Raila Odinga, the champion of devolution. Would like him to go and champion the unity of the African continent. The dream of Kwame Nkrumah of having the United States of Africa. We know Raila Odinga has what it takes. Let us pray for him so that he can go and achieve this, not just for himself, not just for our team Azimio, but for Kenya and for East Africa. We wish him well, but we want to assure Kenyans that we will continue. Our team is intact. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, who was our team leader at Bombers, is here. Our colleagues across the country who are part of Azimio are with us. We will continue fighting until we ensure that we do away with this endemic corruption and tribalism in this government. I think we want to thank you for listening to us. Na vile vile, we take this opportunity to also ask our Muslim brothers and sisters kwa mwezi huu mtukufu wa Ramadhan, pia waombee mzee wetu, waombee amani hapa kule Gaza na duniani kote. We wish you a happy Easter na Ramadan Karim. Asante sana.
Even any question? Pengine kabla ya hiyo swali nitaje tu kwamba sauti ya mama.
Nataka mama mmoja ongea.
In fact nilikuwa nikisema hata huyu mama huyu naweza kuongea